Welcome to Gold Derby. I'm senior editor Denton Davidson here with Los Angeles Rams defensive end and the artist formerly known as Goo on The Masked Singer, Kobie Turner. Kobie, you got to show off some off the field skills. How much fun did you have up on that Masked Singer stage?
I had so much fun being able to be up under the goo mask was such a great time, and to be able to be my silly self, break out all the dance moves, and then to just be able to carry around that heavy costume. When it came to the singing piece, it definitely presented some challenges, breath wise, but to just be able to lunk around in that big costume was so much fun.
What have your teammates said about this? Like, had you been telling them you should watch The Masked Singer? It's a really good show. Like, well, how did you get them to watch?
Yeah, so really they didn't. Like, they saw the unmasking, they saw my post, and so everybody knows that I sang Iris last night because I posted a little clip of that. But I've just kind of been explaining, pretty much having the same conversation over and over again. But it's super exciting when explaining how I started filming this, on the last day of OTAs, and just explaining the entire process. So a lot of guys are figuring that out now. All of the coaches, all of the teammates have come up to me and have been like, "That's so cool! Like, this is sick." And yeah, so it's been pretty fun to be in the facility today, the day after unmasking.
What did you think of Goo? Like, were you excited when you saw the costume? Were you like, Goo? Like, what's Goo?
Yeah, no, I loved him. Like, just the sliminess, it's kind of like at first glance, you think he might be something else, but on the inside, he's just a sweet guy and this sweet character. And I feel like in some ways, there's a lot of parallels to, just me or, being in my profession, where a lot of people will automatically assume, oh, because you're a football player, or oh, because you play in the NFL, you have to be this, that, and the other. But I value myself as a kind person, and as a really kind-hearted person who really cares about other people. But from the surface, if you just see like the football player, you might think, oh, like I see him out on the field, and he's just strong and hard-willed and all of these things, and feisty or whatnot. But there's so much more to us. It's interesting too to think about other football players, even just in my experience, where I see the way that they play, and I'm like, these guys are like, they're just animals. They're monsters. Like, they're ferocious on the field, but like off the field, like they have to have some sort of mean streak to them. But then I get to meet them in person, and I'm like, these are the kindest guys. Like, these are the coolest guys that I've met. So I think there's a lot of parallels between that and Goo, and so I love the costume.
And there's been a few NFL players on this, and John Elway himself was on your season, so you're not alone there.
Yeah. We just played Jordan Mailata actually a couple weeks ago, so I made sure to grab a picture with him. Some Mass Singer family, and then my coach, actually, my D line coach, just came from the Chargers, and so today when I got or after getting unmasked last night, he came in and he was like, you're the second player that I've had that's been on the Mass Singer, because of course Keenan Allen was on the Mass Singer from the Chargers. So it's cool that we're kind of building a little Mass Singer family in the NFL, if you will.
Were you surprised that Jenny, of all people, guessed who you were?
Was, I definitely, I know that my name isn't all the way out there right now. But I was very surprised. I thought, after hearing that Robin was a big fan of the Rams, I was like, maybe he'd be the first to guess it. Or I remember watching previous seasons where Ken was really quick to guess athletes. So I thought maybe one of them might have guessed it. But Jenny, of all people, I wasn't expecting that. But that was a cool moment.
Well, leading up to that, like final guess, I mean, they had been guessing Leon Bridges, Brian McKnight, Anthony Hamilton, Al Green, someone
Yeah.
said. I mean, that's you had to take that as a compliment. You had to be pretty happy with those guesses.
I really was. And just to be able to get, like you said, those guesses, and to be singing under that mask, and all of the fun parts that come with it, and all of the hardships that you have to figure out, how am I going to deliver this vocal when each step kind of takes, a little bit more breath than a normal step, or each movement is different, or when, I haven't performed in front of a crowd in some time. So to be able to get, those people where they thought, I was a Grammy nominated or Grammy award winning musician, artist, was really, really cool and really validating too, to know that I can really go and do something in this music field. I don't know what exactly that looks like. For me, music is really about connecting with people first and foremost, but just validating that that is a real skill set and a real talent that I do have, and something that I've spent a lot of time also working on to be able to get to where I'm at as well.
And you are working on, you have a website where people can see more of your musical side, correct? So tell people about that.
Yeah, so my website is kobieturner.com, and that's going to be a place. One of my biggest things with being an athlete, obviously, I want to be, and I've wanted to be an athlete for a really long time and wanted to play at the highest level. And I've always had dreams of playing in the NFL. But once I got up here and seeing the way that people put people into boxes and to where people are only viewed as, Kobie Turner, the athlete, one of my biggest goals is to make sure that we are seen as more than that, because we're so much more than just athletes. We're human beings who have our own wants, our own desires, our own passions. And one of those passions, of course, is going to be the game of football. But there's a lot of other things that we also enjoy doing, and we should be able to do that. We should be viewed as the totality of the person that we are. And so to be able to put out this website is a step in that direction. And then, I'm going to be posting some music here soon. Next Friday, I'll be dropping one of the covers that I did on the show, but a different interpretation of it. And either on Friday, that same Friday, or sometime later, I'm going to drop one of a cover of a song that I would have liked to do on the show. But ultimately, to be able to show that we're so much more, like I said, than just athletes. And for me to be able to also exercise that other half of me, right? The other side, whereas everybody sees the football side, but let me show you the music side. So whether it be through my website, whether it be on TikTok, I'm a lot more active on TikTok at Kobie Turner Music, or just on my Instagram as well. I hope to use all of those platforms to show the duality of myself, right? My TikTok's a little bit more music based. My Instagram's a little bit more football based, but both of those are going to have both of those connecting pieces. Because the truth is, I'm not just Kobie Turner the musician, and I'm not just Kobie Turner the football player. I'm both of those things and so much more. And so to be able to show that, and to be able to have that present on these platforms as well as my website is going to be awesome.
Yeah, who was one or two of your favorite artists growing, like who musically inspired you the most when you were growing up?
So when I was growing up, I was really, really inspired by gospel music. That's the music that I heard all the time. That's the music that I was singing for my entire life, whether it be Fred Hammond, BB and CC Winans, even hearing Tamla Mann and all of there's so many different artists, Kirk Franklin, that have just presented so many different things in the gospel scene. And so I think that my roots is definitely based in that gospel upbringing. Since then, I've kind of divulged into different areas, but I really like, for me personally, just playing and singing. I love folky, indie, singer songwritery things. Like I love the work that Lizzie McAlpine puts out right now. I love the work that Noah Khan's putting out right now. So there's so many wide ranges of music and the things that I've been able to pull from each genre, whether it also be choir from high school and college, or a cappella, and to be able to pull all of those things into one. So I don't know which one is gonna, influence the way that my music will now come out when I get into writing some of my original stuff. But it definitely started with gospel, and since then it's just been all over the place, trying to gain knowledge from everywhere.
That's great. And this weekend, it's the NFL's My Cause cleats, and you got some new shoes. They even got a little goo on them, I understand. So
Mm-hmm.
talk about these cleats, these shoes, and what that represents, what you're supporting with Save the Music.
Yeah, so my foundation, like you said, is the Save the Music Foundation. And just to go back, for me, music really altered the direction that my life would be in. For me, going through high school, that was my way of understanding my emotions, of expressing myself, even to understand things about myself by the way that I played through music. And the person who really gave me that outlet, and the person who I attribute so much of this to, obviously there's mom and dad and all of the influence that came from mom and dad and from the church and all of these things. But my high school choir director, Lynn Babcock, was so instrumental in my life, and she gave me the gift of music through choir. And that was the reason why, instead of taking multiple weightlifting classes or even just taking an extra weightlifting class, I was taking multiple choirs instead. And that was the reason why I started up multiple a cappella groups, was to stay in that space, because that was a gift that was given to me. And that was what I internalized as a way to be able to express myself. And so a lot of my goals with music and with sharing this is to be able to give the youth back the opportunity to be able to have that same outlet that I had. And something that came across for me in such a critical time, that still to this day, like, I'm listening to a song that one of the covers that I'm putting out, and I'm like, why am I singing this song this way? And that was something that allowed me to go back through some of the trauma that I had from college and really deal with that and understand, hey, I haven't truly dealt with this, but it's coming out in the way that I'm singing. And because of the way that I perform this, now that's helping to translate my emotions even to my own self. And so I think that's something that's very, very powerful. So for me to be able to represent this, to represent Save the Music, is something that is so powerful for me, and I'm super excited to do that. And it all works out perfectly that I got Unmasked at this time, that our broadcast is being broadcast by Fox Sports, or just by Fox, excuse me, and that I'm able to also represent Goo on my cleats, right? Because that's another way of saying we're more than just whatever lane that people want to put you in, whether you're an athlete, whether you're a blue collar worker, white collar worker. We're so much more than all of the boxes that society wants to put us in. And especially going through high school or middle school, or just the school years, to be able to have that outlet and to be able to be a voice to continue to keep that outlet in schools and to continue to fund that outlet, is something that I don't take lightly, and it's something that is super powerful. And I'm really excited to rep Save the Music.
All right, Kobie. Well, it was fun to see you up there on that stage, and good luck this weekend, and good luck with the rest of the football season.
Thank you so much.